some other people. Why can't you do anything right? You know, we just made a cute lie that words will never hurt. I remember, this sounds absolutely ridiculous. I can tell you right now, I can name the guy who has never done a day of harm to me since. And I don't remember ever doing harm to me before. But I can remember a particular baseball game in my Dixie youth at, 10, 11 years old. And I can remember him from the outfield. I'm almost in tears saying this is so stupid. But, well, that's a bad choice of words considering what I'm talking about. And I can remember him from center field hollering at me at second base about how dumb I was. And I can remember about how no good I was. And I can remember him hollering from center field, why did you put him there? He can't catch anything. See, he messes everything up. I still, the guy's never done anything to me before or since. He was mad because he got booted out of the position and I got put into it. And I was tearing it, I was messing it up. But I tell you what, worse than that was the words I was hearing scream. And even I was thinking about this yesterday. I was like, Lord, how silly is it that I want to be even mad at the guy now? I'm 35. I should be so over this. You laugh at me, but has anybody been? Can I drag up some dirt stories that maybe you say, you know what, Danny? There are some things I know they are so long gone, but man, just the thought of it still hurts. Wow. I remember I got in fights as a kid. Anybody in here get in a fight when you were little? We're not talking about your adult fights. That fight. And you got over it. You actually got over it. Wasn't a big deal. You could be friends with the person the next day. But doggone it, if somebody with the right words, those words stick, don't they? Those words, the bruises, they go away. We can be friends tomorrow. But the words you may have said before or after the bruise at any time, the words keep pounding and keep pounding. The fight, I may not remember why it happened, but those negative and those cutting words, they stick. They're like magnets on a refrigerator. You know, actions can be overlooked because maybe the person didn't realize what they did. Maybe they didn't know that they overlooked you. When they looked past and you're like, why didn't they even notice? They didn't even say, hey, they're trying to be snobby. Well, maybe they just didn't know. Maybe they just saw it right past. But the words come from the inside. Luke 6:45 says it like this: good things, out of a good treasury comes the good things. Good things from a good treasury. But out of an evil treasury produces evil things. And it says from an evil heart. And what you say flows from what is in the heart. So the action may have just been a reflex. It just, boom, it just happened. But the words, they're from the heart. Truthfully. Proverbs 18:21 says it like this: the tongue can bring death or life. And those who love to talk will reap the consequences. Whether that's good or bad. The Message translation I like brings it out like this. It says, words kill and words give life. They're either poison or they're fruit. You choose. Wow. Why does God make stuff so easy for us? You choose. God, why is this happening? You choose your words. You got it. You know, I'm assuming right now there are people in here that the sorrows that you fight or maybe the victory you experience in certain aspects of your life are because of someone's words. I've told a story many times of a man named Kyle Greer. He said when I was little that I could pitch. I remember sitting in how that it just influenced me to believe, and it brought up a confidence. I remember sitting in a college parking lot, and I remember out of nowhere my dad looking over at me and saying, "Have you ever considered preaching?" I'd barely given my life to the Lord at that point and hadn't told anybody. And I'm thinking, I think I said no, or I may have said yes, but the Lord had already spoke it to me. He'd already been showing it to me. And then my dad confirms it, or affirms it, rather. I remember sitting in what's now the high school Sunday school room one time. And I remember it was a discussion of what to do, and I've told this story many times, but good memories stick. And I remember we were talking about, I I was very new as a Christian, a year or so maybe. And I remember we were been working with the youth and the youth was growing, and we're sitting over there and having a meeting. I showed up as the young sucker at a meeting, and so they said somebody needs to start singing on Wednesday nights. And I remember when everybody looked, Pastor Christy was the only one who sang at that time. And so I said, well, there you go. And she said, I believe it needs to be somebody their age. And she looked back at me. Never sung a day in my life. And I said, okay, sounds good. And, I never had I'm not saying it was good. But not a single youth, sang for, 3 or 4 years probably. Not a single one ever said, man, you're terrible. Matter of fact, they all sang along with me. I don't know whether it was to cover up or they enjoyed it, But never got a negative comment out of it. And, I never thought otherwise because somebody believed in me. Somebody gave the positive, the encouraging words, if you will. Somebody spoke. And numerous times in my life, there have been people that spoke out of a good treasury to speak good things about a good God and the good that He can do in our lives. I'm assuming that I've already said that. Well, let me ask you this. Are there any memories in here that, as we talk about this, when we talk about when I said good things, there was people going, I remember some people. When I said bad things, there was some people going, I remember those too. Are we nodding our head? Or could you actually, and I won't put you on the spot, but just a show of hands, just to kind of make sure I know where I'm in the right direction, that you can recall, even as I talk about some of my stories, you can remember some of your stories. Yeah? The good and the bad. Words. Wow. I'm going to start right here. If some of those memories are over 5 years old, would you raise your hand? If some of those memories, good or bad, words that stuck, words that you recall, just in the simple conversation that we're having right now, of simply just talking about there's power in words. That's basically all we said in a very long form. And in that, it jogs your memory of good and bad experiences of words that somebody said. Can you say your memory goes 10 years back? 15 years? 20 years? I'm going to stretch it. I got 14-year-olds that are saying yes 20 years. That's prophecy. They're excited about their dad. 30 years. I'm testing somebody's age now in your confession. 40 years. Wow. I won't even go past that. I'll leave it alone. Wow. Still so many hands. Some of you are 30 years old and saying you remember 40 years. I mean, isn't that powerful? That is just life transforming. I'd love to know those words. It's an amazing thing that God, with this power of words, isn't it amazing that God even gave us a tongue? I mean, you ever think about, there's some things in life that seem silly, but God allows us, James says that a tongue is set on fire by hell. That's a big word. And yet, this tongue, that when it goes bad, it goes real bad because it's set on fire by the baddest of them all. And yet God says, you know what? I'm going to let you have your tongue anyway. And I'm going to trust you to use it for my good. That's pretty amazing. I don't know, it makes you next time you bite your tongue, just thankful you got it. I have met people that remain bitter because of what someone said. I've also met people that forgive and heal because of what someone said. The subject word is so vast, honestly, it's difficult to hone in on just a few specifics. I don't have to convince you of the damage words do, but if living the life